Existential anxiety is a deep kind of worry or fear that comes from thinking about life, death, and the meaning of our existence. It's not the same as everyday stress about work, school, or relationship. Morning arrived like it always did, quietly and without promise. The light came through Eli's window, soft and indifferent. He sat at the edge of his bed, still, as if waiting for a sign. But there was nothing. Only the sound of the ticking clock and his shallow breath. Eli's life had rhythm. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. But the rhythm had lost its music. Everything moved, yet nothing truly lived. Sometimes he walked through crowded streets, surrounded by people, yet lonelier than he'd ever been in solitude. At night, the silence screamed. He'd lie in bed staring at the ceiling, asking himself questions he had no answer to. What am I doing this for? What does it all mean? The thoughts looped in his mind like static on a broken radio. Days blurred together. Even joy felt muted, like listening to a beautiful song underwater. One afternoon, he sat on a bench in the park. The city buzzed around him, but he felt distant, like watching a film he wasn't part of. That's when he noticed her Clara. She was scribbling something in a notebook, her eyes calm, yet deep, like she'd been thinking all day. They exchanged a quiet hello, and soon, without much effort, they were talking about things people rarely say out loud. Do you ever feel like life is just happening? Like you're not the one steering? She asked. Eli nodded slowly. Every day, Clara said something that stayed with him. We're free to choose our lives, but that freedom is terrifying. He couldn't stop thinking about it. What if his fear wasn't about having no control, but about having too much of it? He looked around, people chasing goals, timelines, promotions, and yet behind their eyes, he saw the same uncertainty he carried. There was a man at his office, charismatic, accomplished. Everyone admired him. But Eli once caught him alone, looking lost, even hollow. That moment struck him. Maybe no one really knows what they're doing. Maybe we're all just good at pretending. At home, Eli sat in the dark. No screens, no sound, just himself, his thoughts, and a strange ache in his chest. He cried that night not because of sadness, but because he didn't know what else to do with the weight he carried. He left the city for a while. No big farewell, no destination, just a bag and the need to breathe somewhere new. He walked through forests, sat by lakes, stared at endless skies. For the first time in years, the world didn't demand anything from him. He wrote in a notebook the way Clara did. Not for clarity, not for answers, just to feel his own presence on the page. In silence, he found something close to peace, not because the questions were gone, but because he stopped fighting them. When Eli returned, the city looked the same, but he didn't. He walked slower, smiled more, worried less. He met Clara again. They didn't talk about fear this time. They talked about art, laughter, little things that made them feel alive. And on a quiet morning, standing beneath a pale blue sky, Eli whispered to himself, "Maybe life isn't about finding the meaning. Maybe it's about making it."